Please welcome to the stage the Dean of the Kroc School, Darren Q.
Thank you. Welcome graduates, families, friends, staff, and I want to also say a shout out to everybody watching at home online. Welcome to the graduation ceremony for the class of 2026. This is the largest class that the Kroc School has sent out into the world. Congratulations to every one of you. Now, our disembodied voice up there is Kevin, as you know, is our Director of Marketing. Kevin, you gave me only 7 minutes here to make some opening remarks. Are you suggesting I'm long-winded?
No comment.
You weren't supposed to answer that. Well, look, I got to complain about these things, folks, because 7 minutes is not long enough to say all that I want to say about our amazing graduates. Where are you? Where are you out there? Let me hear from you. Woo! Excellent. Okay, so tomorrow I have the distinct honor and privilege to do the magic moment where in the graduation ceremony I say some magic words and you officially graduate at that point. So I'm going to give a big shout out to you. So I need you to make a lot of noise tomorrow. Can you do that for me? All right, good. And I just want to, as you're thinking about, think about all the amazing things you've done since you arrived so far. All the class presentations and papers, the trips to Colombia and China, the deep inquiries into the Tijuana riverbed crisis, the amazing portfolios you all put on and on and on and on. Can we give a shout out to the amazing faculty and staff that helped you on your journey? Okay, family, friends, supporter of our graduates, where are you out there? Let me hear from you. All right. Woo! All right, I see where our people get it from. Thank you. Thank you so much. You've heard the old phrase about it takes a village. It really does take a village to go on these kind of journeys. We've heard from all the support you've given our graduates, so we want to thank you. I want to give you a little homework, though. You weren't going to get into a graduate situation without a bit of homework from the faculty here. I want you, before you leave today at today's reception, I want you to meet a couple of the other graduates of our program that you haven't met yet. These folks are inspirational. When you look around the world today and when you think about all the difficulties that we face, the answers are right here. So make sure that you connect to these folks. They are a tremendous amount of inspiration. You see why we as faculty and staff are so engaged and so energetic about what we're doing. It's because of them. Graduates, I want to leave you with one key thought before you go and take your next steps on your adventure. I want you to feel the energy in the room that is here right now, and hold on to the bonds that you've built with each other in this school. This is tremendously important, especially now when you look around the world and the changes in institutions, so much change happening right now. I want you to think of yourselves as like social impact consulting firms and part of Kroc Consulting International. Think of your career not just as a series of jobs, but focused on the key strategic goals that you've been wanting to impact on and that you've been working on since you got here and before you came. Polarization, environmental justice, democracy deepening, an end to war, an end to gun violence, an anti-poverty initiative, an end to homelessness. All of these big strategic issues that move you, that move us. Stay connected with your team. The folks that you have built here are your consulting outfit. You are individuals that now we can plug into any job around the world and you've got backup. You are connected to a team that can provide you with additional assistance, and you can stay connected working on these longer term goals that none of us can solve alone. But that you in small groups, and all of the research shows, it just takes small groups of strategically thinking individuals that come together that can change the world. And this is the change that we're talking about. This is what you are, and this is something you can tell your employers too. You bring backup when you walk in the door. It's not just you. You are part of all this, And this is what the school will remain supportive of you going forward. We want you to stay connected with us as well. We will always be there for you. You can always call up any of the faculty and staff, folks at IPJ, CRJ. We're always going to be here for you, and we are going to continue to be providing offerings for you as alumni as you walk out the door. Come in and sit on a class in the future when you need time to retool. Check in with us. We're going to do other things for you in the years to come. We're also going to be providing you with assistance in terms of helping to find jobs. I've mentioned we're hiring an employment officer in the school. That person's going to be available to you forever as you move on. We know you're going to have to be pivoting at different times in life. We want to be there supportive of you because we're all in this together. We have this beautiful building in the Kroc School. We have these beautiful grounds out here, but I tell you, that's not the Kroc School. I see nothing more beautiful than the people right here in front of me. You are the Kroc School. You are what make this place special. You are the energy that fills our sails and is the change of tomorrow. So stay connected with each other, stay connected with us, and come back. We need you, and we're here for you. Now, it is my job also to review for you the events for the rest of the presentation. Kevin, did I keep it to 7 minutes? No. Okay, so the next step, we're going to have the presentation of the graduates. We're going to have faculty and student remarks. We're going to have academic and community awards. And then after that, we're going to have a reception in the Garden of the Sea. But graduates, do not leave because we've got to get a photo with you at the end. So make sure you remain here, and I'll remind you at the end. Okay, so now it is my pleasure and privilege to introduce my colleague, Professor Aaron Gavin of the Massey program. Aaron.
Good evening. As Darren mentioned, my name is Aaron, and I am honored to be here to give the remarks for the Masters of Social Innovation program, or Massey as we call it internally. Our Massey program challenges students to translate purpose into practice, and this graduating class has done just that, if anything, exceeded our expectations. Over the past year, I've had the honor of working closely with them as they've taken ideas beyond the classroom and into real-world settings, leading initiatives, advancing organizations, starting sustainability ventures, and supporting communities, while often balancing complex professional and individual commitments. Along their journey, they have strengthened their ability to operate in ambiguity, which we're all going through right now, let's be real, think in systems, and create value across sectors. And what makes this class so distinct is their range and their depth. From healthcare to labor advocacy, from those sustainability ventures I mentioned earlier and community-centered outreach, and global perspectives to local impact, they found ways to connect their skills to the work that matters most. I'm proud to say that they understand something very important, which is social impact isn't just about passion. It requires discipline and strategy and the ability to work with and others in order to bring ideas into practice. That's what they're leaving with, but more importantly, that's what they're bringing forward into the world. So to the Massey class of 2026, congratulations. And before you go build what's next, please join me on stage with Darren for a photo.
Hi. I'm Sarah Fetterman. I teach in the conflict and peace and whatever they ask me to. But tonight, I'm here to congratulate and initiate into the world, the professional world of conflict resolution, the conflict management and resolution graduates. This semester, I assigned a final paper where the conflict students had to talk to Gemini about a conflict that interested them, the AI software. And what they came back with was, at least Gemini didn't say that the answer was killing the other party, so I appreciated that. But they found that it was very narrow, that the approach that the AI was taking was so small compared to what they've learned about approaches to conflict. So this is what's very exciting. You're really needed, because the students were pushing back on the AI and saying, hey, what about this? What about that? And I just want you to know, like I say this in the conflict class, that there's no approach to conflict that resolves everything. Otherwise, we'd all just do that same approach over and over again. That's why we actually have to learn these different approaches. But they all have value. And I had a friend over for dinner who works at Apple up in San Francisco. And I was saying, well, so what are you looking for these days in graduates? What is it that you need? And he said, actually, conflict resolution. And he didn't even know that that's exactly what I taught. We're looking for people who know how to handle relationships, who know how to work with teams, who are willing to have those uncomfortable conversations. And I've heard that now from labs, science labs, engineering professors. Like, there are all kinds of fields that our students can work in, because when the world goes tech, the best response is to humanize as much as possible. And that's what you've all done. And what I want to acknowledge you for, on all of you in our programs, but you've been willing to be uncomfortable. You've been willing to be challenged on your thoughts. This is not easy. And most people don't do it. That's why they're not in this program. So these are people who are willing to dig in and talk about taboos: Israel, Palestine, money, gender, demilitarization, religion. I mean, these are the people that are going for it, and they're gonna open conversations everywhere they go. So they're gonna keep developing their craft, and they're gonna keep us posted, and they're all gonna connect with me on LinkedIn so I get to see what's happening to them all. Yes, but I want to not focus on your future, because I am so excited about where you're all going. But for tonight, we are celebrating. So welcome onto the stage, the Conflict Management Resolution class of 2026.
When the students began their journey in the Master of Science in Humanitarian Action, there was an institution called USAID. It's gone. There was a British agency called FCDO, and they've cut their budget by 40%. The world has shifted even as they've been in the program. And one of the realities of this degree is that the students have to wrestle with two very different elements. One, to analyze what is humanitarian action? What does it mean to be a peacemaker in situations of violent conflict? And on the other hand, what does it mean to do the dirty work, to do logistics, to manage programs, all of them, in a sense, amidst ambiguity? Because one of the struggles of humanitarian action is, how do you uphold the principles of humanity? How do you uphold caring, providing compassion, when sometimes you don't know where to begin? Also, the students in the Masha program, most of them have day jobs. And so some of them have written to me, oh, well, I got to this at 3 in the morning. I said, thank you very much for getting to it. But they've made the journey. They've made the journey. When Charles de Gaulle met with Zhou Enlai, Charles de Gaulle said to Zhou Enlai, what was the meaning of the French Revolution? And Cho and Lai reportedly replied, "It's too soon to tell." Well, it's not too soon for me to know that this cohort is going to make a difference, that this cohort has a commitment, has a compassion, has a stick-to-itiveness that going through the program from a distance in their own lives, making changes, dealing with families and jobs and children, they stuck with it. And I know in our broken world of Sudan and Haiti and Myanmar and Gaza and Western North Carolina and Altadena and all the exclusions of humanitarianism in this country, they will make a difference. In this country, where when we consider children traumatized by the fires in Pasadena and Altadena, we might ask, aren't there even more children traumatized by masked people in the street claiming to be the agents of government? And so what will we do that's humanitarian for those children who don't understand what this means? So this class, this group has persisted, and I'm delighted to introduce you to this graduating class from the Masha program.
Good evening. My name is Topher McDougall. I have had the privilege of directing the Master of Arts in Peace and Justice, the MAPJ program, for the past few years now. Tonight is a sort of bittersweet moment for me. I will be passing the baton here to our own brilliant Professor Sarah Fetterman. Tori Luna, and I can't see out there, so I don't know where she is, with whom I work at the Kroc Institute of Peace and Justice, has a quote from Gandalf hanging in her office that I suspect many of us, or at least the sort of fantasy nerds among us, have had occasion to recall lately. And it goes something like this. I'm not going to try to emulate Elijah Wood's attempt to emulate an English accent. I wish it need not have happened in my time, says Frodo. And Gandalf replies, so do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. This year's graduating MAPJ cohort comprises 14 thoughtful and deeply committed individuals who, to paraphrase Margaret Mead, we should never doubt are capable of changing the world. The MAPJ program also holds a special place in my own personal esteem. It's the longest, it's also the longest standing, the most internationally diverse generally, the widest ranging, and in many ways the most central program of Kroc's graduate programs. Over the years, it's produced human rights lawyers, it's produced mediators, social entrepreneurs, humanitarian practitioners, institution builders, scholars, graduates whose work has helped to inspire the Kroc School to grow in new directions, to grow new programs, including the MA in Social Innovation, including the MS in Conflict Management and Resolution, including the MS in Humanitarian Action. So in other words, MAPJ graduates have a long tradition of not only changing the world beyond these walls, but also even challenging this institution to become better versions of itself. The members of this graduating class possess the same seriousness, the same creativity, the same sense of purpose, and what Jonathan Lear called radical hope as those who have preceded them. And I can't wait to see what they do with the time that is given them. Please welcome them.
Okay, congratulations again to all of our graduating classes. Fantastic. I would like to now introduce my colleague, Professor Karen Hankin of the Massey program, to introduce the graduate student remarks portion of the evening. Thank you, Karen. Welcome.
I get to do the fun thing of introduce some amazing students here. I'm also going to try to demystify the acronyms that everybody's using. So the first person I'm going to introduce is Holly Burton, who is president of KGSA, otherwise known as the Kroc Graduate Student Association. And so what I'm going to share, because I don't think you know this, is your classmates all gave a whole bunch of amazing comments to all of those getting awards. So I'm going to tell you what your classmates think of you. It's all good stuff. So Holly's classmates describe her as a deeply engaged and compassionate leader within the Kroc School community and KGSA, who consistently contributes her time, energy, and care in support of others. They highlighted her reliability, positivity, and willingness to show up for classmates. Do you need Kleenex? Whether through organizing events, supporting peers during stressful moments, or creating a welcoming and encouraging environment. They shared that she approaches every interaction with kindness, empathy, and authenticity, making others feel seen, valued, and included. Come and tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Holly, and your experience here. She's supposed to come up, yes?
Wow. Thank you. That was incredibly sweet. Hello, colleagues and faculty and staff and all our honored guests and who I consider my friends. Thank you. You all look so beautiful tonight. Let me just say, I'm so impressed. I'm going to tell you a little story. When I was a child, I was obsessed with the idea of flying. Not airplanes or hang gliders. I mean me, like a human being flying. And I had dreams about it that felt so vivid and real that it became completely convinced that it was possible. Then one day at church, I heard about the mustard seed. Let me just tell you what that means. That if you had the faith of a mustard seed, a little tiny thing, you could move mountains. Well, when I heard that, I lived there at the base of the Wasatch Mountains in Utah, beautiful, huge, right by Mount Olympus. And I figured that if a tiny bit of faith could move mountains, then surely I had enough that I could fly. Not a big deal. So I made a plan. I picked a date, a time, a place where I would work on my flying lessons and begin. So it was near my house, and there was this steep hill with this rise and a drop off before it. It was perfect for takeoff. It was gorgeous. So I had an appointed day and time, and I rode my bike on that day to the spot. And I remember standing there and looking at the mountains and staring at them and thinking, imagining how incredible this was going to be. Like when I flew up and over to see what was beyond them. And I was terrified, but I was also so full of hope. I remember as I stood there, I prayed in my heart, and I gathered every ounce of faith and courage that I had, and I started running full force. I felt the wind in my hair, I felt muscles and strength in my legs, and I felt powerful, certain, and free. And then I took that giant leap, and I was flying. I soared until I didn't. And as I crashed down hard and rolled down this hill, and I badly sprained my ankle, and I laid there looking up the sky and crying, and I wondered what had happened. Like, I had that faith. I knew I did. Why didn't it work? So I limped home that day with a broken heart and a bruised understanding of reality. And I felt humiliatingly alone. Honestly, I did not tell anybody about that story for years. And it was almost 50 years later, after falls that have been much harder than a sprained ankle, that I finally understood something that that little girl didn't know yet. There would be other times in my life when I'd feel deeply alone. Even as a person of faith, even within communities of faith, I have felt completely alone. So even while trying to hold on to that hope, I have felt that. And lately, in moments like the senseless act we witnessed this week here in San Diego, it can be easy to lose faith in humanity altogether. But this is what I'm learning. We may carry pain alone, but we heal together. We combat hatred. To combat hatred, we build connection. To combat isolation, we build community. And maybe that's why human connection matters so much. For me, at the very heart of peace building, the very core, is the ability to truly see another person, their dignity, their worth, their humanity. Now, I'll tell you that I still want to fly. I really do. And apparently so do all of you, because somehow we all ended up here. People from different countries, faiths, cultures, languages, experiences, and worldviews, we are all carrying this quiet hope that somehow we could build a better world. That takes faith. And this journey has not been easy. Some of us have lost loved ones while being here. Some have lived through war and displacement in our own countries. Some have gone years without seeing family. Some have carried grief, fear, exhaustion, or loneliness that no one could see. And this week here in San Diego, in our own community, we were shaken by a tragic act of violence at the Islamic Center of San Diego that's impacting people we know, people we love. It was a painful reminder that the work we are stepping into is not abstract. It is urgent, it is human, and it is deeply needed. And so here we are. We studied, we questioned, we listened, we built, we designed, we imagined, but we do not change the world alone. We do it together. We become the wind beneath each other. There's this old Maori proverb that I learned about years ago that I love, and I hope I don't massacre it in saying this, so bear with my accent. Ha'etu aha a te me ne a te au, he tangata, he tangata, he tangata. And this is what it translates. What is the most important thing in the world? It is people, it is people, it is people. So my beautiful Kroc community, thank you for being my people. Thank you for lifting me when I could not lift myself. Thank you for seeing me with dignity, compassion, and hope. And my greatest hope for all of us is that wherever we go next, we will do the same for others. That we will help people feel seen, that we will help people rise, that will help people believe they can fly. Because maybe that's what peace building really is. And maybe, just maybe, that little girl, Holly, was right after all. It does take faith to fly, just not by ourselves. It takes faith in people, in connection, in the possibility of what we can become together. So maybe peace building is not about teaching people how to fly. Maybe it's about refusing to let each other fall. So before I close, I'm going to have you help me. When I say, what is the most important thing in the world? You're going to all shout, it is people, 3 times. Are you ready? So what is the most important thing in the world? It is people. It is people. It is people. Congratulations, class of 2026. I see you. I see you and I honor you. Thank you.
Okay, Holly has set the bar really high. Next up is John Michael Maury, of the Masters of Art in Social Innovation, and to let you know how your classmates describe you. As an engaging, charismatic, and uplifting presence. If anybody walks by John Michael in the hallway, you know that's the case. Within the Kroc School community and the Massey program, you bring your energy, joy, and encouragement to those around you. They shared that you have a strong understanding of the cohort experience and the personal academic growth, and you speak with authenticity to the heart of the program and the creativity of the graduating class. They highlighted your ability to connect with others through active listening, thoughtful dialogue, and genuine care. I'm just going to share what you told me in the hallway, which is that you're trained as an actor and that you do medical improv at UCSD School of Medicine. How is that for bringing bedside manner to doctors? That is so cool. So come and share your story a little bit with your classmates.
What's up, everyone? Wow. Holly, thank you. I need the tissues after that. Appreciate your heart. Well, good evening, friends, family. Yes. Thank you, first of all, to the Kroc staff and admin. We really appreciate all the support you've given us over the years. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, please. And of course, to our revered Kroc faculty, our deepest appreciation for your mentorship and your guidance. Yeah? And to my fellow Kroc mates. What's up? Yeah. So here we go. So my name is John Michael Maury, as you heard, and it's my honor to represent the 2026 Social Innovation Cohort. So we each said yes to this calling, to this program, because we had a vision of a new earth, right? One where sustainability, equity, and fairness is the norm, benefiting people and the planet, rendering the old, outdated ways obsolete. Look at us now. Sharpened our systems thinking. We adopted a theory of change. We prototyped bold new ideas, built logic models, embodied adaptive leadership, embraced benefit corporations, practiced co-creation through sometimes chaotic group projects. Lanzarote, we remember that. It was a fun one, and it turned out great. We've been field tested in practicums, both locally and abroad. And while we've gained tremendous experience, our biggest gain has been each other. An ever-expanding network of change makers with shared values and diverse perspectives. That has been such a gift, the diverse perspectives. And we're unique as social innovators. Why? Well, because we socialize. And just like Holly was saying, we're about the people. We're about community. We're about creating a sense of belonging. So, as we step out into the great wide open, remember 3 things. And I'm gonna have you join in a little bit here too. So, number 1. Good, did it. We and our cause are risk-worthy. As our classmate, Sage Dobby, ciao Bella, as she said, go out there and be a change maker. Yes, Sage, I couldn't agree more. Let's be bold. Let's co-create successfully with the communities that we are trying to serve. Let's play. Let's get a little messy in the sandbox, right? While we change the world. Number 2. Build new business structures by design. As Professor Paula Cordero stated in her keynote address at the Business for Good Summit, when pressure hits, defaults decide. What she was saying is that the defaults that we have now aren't working, and our care alone will not override the current default of shareholder primacy and the over-extraction of natural resources. We are the ones who will build the legal and economic structures that will care for employees, that will care for communities, and that will honor the planet. And number 3, champion each other to shine. Because as the Bantu phrase Ubuntu translates, I am because we are. We are doing this together. One people, one love. So, Kroc mates, my fellow social innovators, let's collaborate. Let's ideate and innovate together toward a more sustainable, equitable, and peaceful society today.
Truly words of wisdom being shared by these speakers. The next person I want to introduce is Matthew Metz, who is representing the Masters in Conflict Management and Resolution. And your classmates describe you, Matthew, as an exceptionally intelligent, thoughtful, and articulate member of the Kroc community, whose insights continually elevate classroom discussions and encourage others to think more deeply about the world around them. And that is certainly something we need today. They share that you bring a rare combination of intellectual depth, humility, integrity, and emotional intelligence to every interaction, while also serving as a steady source of encouragement and support for your peers. They say that you are a quiet leader whose authenticity, compassion, and ability to connect with others have had a meaningful impact on the cohort. Please share some of your thoughts with your classmates.
Dear friends, graduates! Let's take a moment. Look at each other right now. Look at the people sitting next to you. Now look to your professors, to your administrators, to the staff that have helped us get this far. And if you can, turn around and look to your friends and family that are here. And as you do, remember each face you see. Remember this moment. Remember their faces. Why? This world is dark. It will isolate you, it will disorient you, and it will do its best to break you down. It might even succeed. And it is in these moments, when everything's crashing down around all of you, that you remember. Remember that you're not alone in the struggle for peace. Remember the faces of your fellow peace builders. remember that the cause of peace, justice, yes, one word, peace, justice, is right. And those who build it, that's you, shower blessings upon all who receive it. Because ours is the task, and this is our purpose. Bring light of peace, justice into this dark world that we live in. Carry forth lantern of hope where none exists. On our own, the scale of the needs faced by many will be too much. But remember the faces of your fellow peace builders. Remember that you are not alone. Remember this moment of triumph and every moment of triumph to come. Draw on strength from this and carry on. Grace and peace be upon you today and forever.
Continuing wonderful words of wisdom. Thank you, Matthew. The next person to represent the Master of Science in Humanitarian Action is Jonathan Arrighetti. Would you like to know what your classmates said about you? They described you as an outstanding leader and dedicated member of the Masha community who consistently demonstrated excellence, collaboration, and a strong commitment to supporting your peers throughout the program. They highlighted your extensive humanitarian field experience through your work with CARE, including in Syria, Gaza, Afghanistan, Haiti, and Jamaica, noting that your real-world perspective brought enormous depth and value to classroom discussions. They shared that you consistently connected academic concepts to practical realities in the field, serving as a trusted resource, thoughtful leader, and an example of humanitarian work in action. Please share your words with the classmates.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Arrighetti, and I am speaking on behalf of the Masters of Science in Humanitarian Action program. So the classes here today entered this program in a world, as Dr. Commons said, in which USAID existed, expecting it would prepare us for the humanitarian system that was. And instead, we spent the last 2 years watching that system change in real time. One of the biggest lessons of this program really had nothing to do with the virtual classroom that we all sat in on Canvas. It was realizing how quickly that system can change. Budgets disappeared, long-standing assumptions about aid were challenged, whole organizations were forced to rethink what humanitarian action would look like going forward. But change is not really the interruption of this work, it is the work. And learning how to live with that uncertainty may be one of the best and highest valuable lessons that this program gave us. So the humanitarian sector we entered may not be the same one that we're graduating into, but humanity itself hasn't changed. We can all still choose to be little h humanitarians in our own way, whether as architects designing safer spaces, parents raising compassionate children, leaders deciding how power is shared, or neighbors choosing not to look away. Whether we're entering this work for the first time or entering it anew, our responsibility is not only to continue this field, but to help shape what comes next. So we may not leave here with certainty, frankly, but we do leave with better questions, deeper humility, and a shared responsibility to one another. And to the people who supported us through late nights, long flights, missed moments, and moments of doubt, I say thank you. This degree also belongs to you. Thank you and congratulations to the class of 2026.
Again, thank you for wonderful words of wisdom. And our last speaker represents the Masters in Peace and Justice program. and I hope I am not going to butcher your name, Kai Yadnarpyo. Okay. Your classmates, you want to come up here? Great. Your classmates describe you as a deeply compassionate, welcoming, and inspiring presence within the MAPJ program and the broader Kroc community. You embody the values of peace through your actions and your relationship with others. Several reflected on Kai's immediate warmth and kindness that she extended from the very first day she was on campus, noting her ability to make others feel supported and included. Others highlight your optimism, your generosity, and the genuine care for your peers, especially your support for international students and your efforts to bring connections across the cohort. Please share with your classmates some of your perspectives as well.
Good afternoon, everyone, and especially to my peers, the class of 2026. How are you guys feeling today? If I'm being honest, I am feeling grateful, a little nervous, and emotional. Before we continue, I would like to take a moment to honor the history of this space and acknowledge that the land we are gathered on today is the ancestral and unceded land of the Kumeyaay people. My name is Kai Pyo. I am a Fulbright scholar from Burma, Southeast Asia, a student of the Master of Arts in Peace and Justice program. I came from a place where silence is a form of protection. In my home country, speaking openly, questioning, or even thinking too much, even thinking freely can be dangerous. And my mom's fear that I would think too much is her way of keeping me safe in a country where military dictators see a thinking younger generation as a threat. So I carried that silence with me, and in my first semester, I was the quietest student in the room. But something changed. And now I'm here. Through this community, through my peers, professors, and the spaces we built together, I began to unlearn the idea that my voice was a danger. I learned how to speak, how to listen, and how to lead. That has been the most important transformation of all. After this program, I can confidently say that, at least to me, I have grown into a better, much grounded version of myself. And as a peace student, what I have come to understand is that peace is something we practice every day in the conversations we choose to have, the bridges we choose to build, or the courage we choose to act. And leadership can take many forms. Oftentimes, it shows up quietly in how we relate to each other and how we create space for others. Before we step into the real world to heal others, we must also remember that we need to heal ourselves. And I believe that we can all be medicine to ourselves and to others. And in doing so, we become part of that healing for each other and for our communities around us. Since we are graduating tomorrow, I will definitely miss the people. And yet I know that I am not leaving them all behind because you all are now a part of me. And to all my peers who have worked really hard to reach this point, whether working full-time or part-time, or being so far away from home, or juggling countless responsibilities in your own way, I want to say I see you, each and every one of you. As we celebrate this moment, I want to congratulate us, not only for our achievements, but also for our struggles. The moments that challenged us, shaped us and made us more resilient. And thank you all for daring to dream of a better future, even if it feels so far away in such a chaotic world. And we begin where we are. We act because we care for each other and for the world we share. And that in itself is a powerful beginning. Peace.
Amazing students. Good evening. I'm honored to open the awards portion of the evening. Tonight's awards celebrate academic excellence, leadership, service, and meaningful contributions our students have made to the Kroc community and beyond. We will recognize excellence in writing, outstanding students' portfolio, academic achievement, and several community awards that reflect the values of peace building, social innovation, civic engagement, and humanitarian leadership. To our graduates, thank you for the energy, compassion, and commitment you brought to this community. Your work has strengthened the Kroc School, and we are proud to celebrate this milestone with you tonight. Congratulations, class of 2026. And now it is my honor and privilege to invite Professor Dustin Sharp, who will kick us off with the Excellence in Writing Awards.
All right, so the first award recognizes the best piece of long-form writing, and I think that might require some historical context. Some time ago, there were humans who took delight in reading and writing books. Their ways are mostly lost to us now, but we do know that their children found these long-form pieces of writing to be quite tiresome. And so later generations moved on to magazine articles. Those were too long, so then we read blog posts. Eventually those grew tiresome as well, and so now we just tweet at each other. And maybe future generations will just turn that over to AI. So we're trying to buck that trend with this award here at the Kroc School. We think that in a world where everyone is expected to have a hot take, something that's actually the product of a considered reflection is still worth doing and still worth valuing. And so with that, the award for the best long-form piece of writing goes to Kirsten Chaplin. Okay, the second award goes to the best piece of short-form writing, and despite everything I said about the virtues of long-form writing, a wiser man than I once said that brevity is the soul of wit, and so that ability to cut through the noise and to do so artfully is a skill that is valuable across many professions and walks of life. And the award for the best short-form writing goes to me, Hauglin Sursdal. Okay, finally we have the Best Published Piece Award, and so this recognizes that part of scholarship is about public communication, and as much as it is important to communicate with your professor and get them to give you an A, which is a skill many of us had to master at different stages of our life, sharing your work that can reach a wider audience and maybe change the conversation, if anything, is even more important. And so with that, the award for Best Published Piece goes to Hallie Schilling. turn things back over to my colleague, Dr. Stephen Commons.
The Marsh Award for Academic Excellence is given to someone who brings together very different attributes: scholarly achievement, leadership, but most of all, a dedication to humanitarian principles. So I'm very pleased to announce the winner of that award is Jonathan Arrighetti.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Austin Troy Fitzpatrick. Some of you know me from foundations. I'm a real person. There's all of me here. People know me from Zoom and from a podcasty kind of class. We're very innovative. But I'm here to talk about the Portfolio Award, the Best Portfolio Award, which is everybody here's favorite class. That's actually not true. It's not true. But it is my favorite class, and here's why. I think that programs like this are capacitating environments for people in the midst of a moment in life where they want to ask big questions that don't always have easy answers. And figuring out what the question is, that's the hard part. What's the actual answer? How do we operationalize that? This is something that is different for every single person here based on their own skills, capacities, commitments, interests, investments of you all back here. And so the portfolio is this opportunity to ask folks, so what just happened here? And what do you mean by it? And what's the story you're trying to tell? And what are you taking forward with you into the world? Somebody said here earlier this point about childhood came up several times. It reminds me of a graduate student, maybe 10 years ago now said to me a story he had been told about his younger brother had learning differences. And somebody told him one time, "Behold the child, the tongue-tied prophet." This idea that inside people, inside all of us, is a prophet that's just waiting to fly, right? We do it together, right? Waiting to find our voice, right? So the portfolio is this terribly long slog. Why? Because we're trying to find our voice, right? And that's not something that stops. It's this continuous process for all of us. So so this is an award. So the Best Portfolio Award for MAPJ goes to Kirsten Taylor Chaplin. Flowers are everywhere. Thank you. The Best Portfolio Award for Massey goes to Nyla Eileen Baxter Williamson. CMR's conflict management and resolution couldn't settle on one person. I don't know what that tells you about the decision makers over there, but MAPJ and Massey, they got it to one, but CMR couldn't do that. So we're gonna do two. The first is Hallie Schilling. And last, and certainly not least, the CMR Best Portfolio Award is Matthew Yang Metz. Next up is my colleague, Jake Wild-Cree. Welcome, Jake.
All right, I'm Jake Wild-Cree, and it's really wonderful to see how many, I didn't realize until you were all up here, how many of you I've got had the privilege of teaching. So when you leave, I don't know if I'll know anyone left. We're gonna miss you. So when I first came to Kroc, I was a little bit skeptical of how a school, a Catholic school way up on a hill, could do community engagement. If anyone parked at the bottom of the hill, you could see it's a physical feat of nature to even get up to campus. It's tough from this place to engage in community. And so it was really, I wasn't sure if I was gonna come because of that, but what I've stayed for is the community engagement that you all and we do as an institution, and that happens from each of you. So I'm really pleased to present a few awards tonight for the community engagement. And this peace-building work does not happen in isolation. It doesn't just happen up here. We do a lot of work up here, but as Darren said, this school is not just this building, it's you all, and that doesn't just happen here. Each of us come from different communities, we're committed to different communities, and it takes a lot to be engaged in community work and doing peace building while doing a master's degree. So these awards really recognize folks that have gone above and beyond while at school during their time here. So the Community Engagement Awards are for graduating students who have made meaningful contributions to the Kroc community and communities beyond campus. So the recipients of these awards have been nominated by peers, faculty, or through self-nomination. And they were selected by a committee based on their leadership, service, collaboration, and commitment to the values of Kroc. So in the spirit of community awards, I'm not gonna present them, we're gonna have other community members do it. So please welcome Kyla Fisher to the stage to present the Patricia Marquez Innovator Award.
Hello, everyone. The Patricia Marquez Innovator Award is presented to a graduating student who has demonstrated exceptional creativity, leadership, and commitment to advancing innovative solutions beyond the classroom. This year's recipient, Sage Dobby. I got more to say. This year's recipient, Sage Dobby, has distinguished herself through her entrepreneurial vision, interdisciplinary leadership, and dedication to sustainability and social impact. Through ventures such as Pina Designs and Ciao Bella, Sage has transformed environmental challenges into innovative, community-centered business solutions by creating sustainable products from upcycled pineapple fibers. Her accomplishments as the winner of the Fowler Business Concept Challenge and competitor in the Fowler Global Social Innovation Challenge reflect her ability to translate classroom concepts into meaningful real-world impact. Beyond her entrepreneurial achievements, Sage has actively engaged with the broader community through collaboration, mentorship, service, and consistently demonstrating the values of innovation, social responsibility, and purpose-driven leadership that define the Kroc School. Please help me in celebrating Sage as this year's recipient of the Patricia Marquez Social Innovator Award.
Hello, everyone. The John Patterson Humanitarian Promise Award is presented to a Masha student who has exhibited dedication and capacity in the field of humanitarianism. Through academic and professional accomplishments, this student demonstrates mastery of the integration of theory, practice, learning, and doing in a relationship of mutual improvement that is required by effective humanitarianism. Beyond academia, this student exemplifies leadership, advocates for impacted communities, and fosters collaboration in crisis-affected areas. This award recognizes their significant contributions to advancing peace, justice, and human rights, inspiring others to make meaningful change in the world. This year's recipient, Jonathan Arogeti, exemplifies the integration of theory, practice, learning, and service through his extensive humanitarian work with care in some of the world's most complex crisis settings, including Syria, Gaza, Afghanistan, Haiti, and Jamaica. His professional experience has enriched both the classroom and the broader Kroc community by grounding academic discussions in lived realities and demonstrating the importance of principled, community-centered humanitarian action. Beyond his professional accomplishments, Jonathan is recognized for his humility, collaborative leadership, and unwavering commitment to advancing peace, justice, and human dignity. Through his global humanitarian service, volunteerism, and advocacy for impacted communities, Jonathan embodies the values and promise of effective humanitarian leadership and inspires others to pursue meaningful change in the world. Please join me in congratulating Jonathan Arogeti as this year's John Patterson Humanitarian Promise Award recipient.
Hello, everybody. My name is Necla Şörgi, and I'm a professor emeritus at the Kroc School of Peace Studies. And it is my great honor, privilege, and pleasure to present the Necla Şörgi Civic Engagement Award today. I am actually delighted to note that two previous award holders are with us today, and Eric and Madeline, and I congratulate them. And we'll have one more awardee at the end of this presentation. The Necla Şörgi Civic Engagement Award is presented to a graduating student who has exhibited quality contributions, not only to the Kroc School, but to the outside community. This student has gone above and beyond by donating their time, skills, and energy to a cause that they're passionate about. This student prioritized time to serve those in need and left a lasting impression on their peers and the outside community. Of course, I wasn't involved in the selection. The peers and faculty, I think, were involved in that selection. This year's recipient is Zoe Lauren. Zoe has gone way above and beyond in dedicating her time, energy, and talents to supporting refugee families in San Diego through her work with Copanda Kids, through the development of free educational, cultural, and arts-based programming for children and families. Zoe created spaces centered on belonging, creativity, healing, and joy. Her leadership extended beyond programming to building strong relationships with families, community partners, and local schools, helping foster a resilient and supportive community for African refugee families. Zoe's humility, empathy, and unwavering commitment to uplifting others have left a lasting impact on both the Kroc community and the broader San Diego community. embodying the spirit of civic engagement and service that this award seeks to honor. Please join me in congratulating Zoe for this outstanding achievement.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alejandro Cervantes Frederick. I'm a team member here in the Institute for Peace and Justice. And tonight I have the honor of presenting the Joan B. Kroc Award. The Joan B. Kroc Award is presented to a graduating student who has exhibited quality contributions to the Kroc School community. This student has gone above and beyond and exerted an exceptional amount of effort to contribute to the student life experience. This student is passionate. They are an embodiment of what it means to be a courageous change maker. Their actions have left a lasting impression, not only on their peers, but also in the Kroc School community. This year's recipient, Holly Burton. Holly has embodied the spirit of this award through her unwavering commitment to supporting and uplifting the Kroc community during a period of significant transition. As president of the Kroc Graduate Student Association, Holly became a trusted advocate and source of support for her peers, consistently listening to student concerns, fostering connection, and strengthening communication between students, faculty, and administration. Beyond her leadership, Holly created spaces for dialogue, belonging, and interfaith peace building that reflected her deep commitment to community and courageous change-making. Her empathy, grace, and tireless dedication have left a lasting impact on the student experience and the broader Kroc community, making her a truly deserving recipient of the Joan B. Kroc Award. Please join me in congratulating Holly as this year's recipient of the Joan B. Kroc Award.
Okay, everyone, congratulations again to all the graduates. It's my job to close the ceremony. Although I think other students may support me on this. I think I've actually seen Holly flying down the hallway now and then. Haven't you seen her? You've seen her, right? I thought so. I think her remarks and all of your remarks really just, again, underscore how remarkable all of you are and what a privilege it is for us to have been working with you over these years and how privileged we will be to continue working with you as we go forward. Thank you again. Congratulations to all of you. I just want to also take a moment to pay special thanks to my colleagues, Arlene, Kevin, Tony, Alexa, Tori, Alejandrix, Limley, Kyla, Francesca, Francis, folks at CRJ, IPJ, our amazing faculty, everyone in this school. It is truly my privilege and honor to be the dean of this school and to working with such amazing colleagues. You make everything so easy and so amazing, so thank you to all of you. Okay, if you're going to forget anything that I said during my opening remarks, forget that I said that the reception is in the Garden of the Sky, in the Garden of the Sea. It's in the Garden of the Sky. So all you have to do is walk straight out the door right there through the rotunda, and that's where it's going to happen. So I will now ask if the graduates will stay right here because we got to get a big old photo with all of you together here on stage. For family, friends, and folks, head right straight out those doors. We'll be right behind you in just a few minutes after we get these photos taken. Thank you, all of you. See you all tomorrow at the graduation. Thank you.
We want to do this on here?
Yeah, we'll be up here, I think, at some point, so.
We'll get the Masha folks.